wonderful good day. This is Owen McCafferty talking through the kindness and courtesy of professional fusion to offer you short little ideas and thoughts, some of which are timely based as a commentary of what's occurring presently, and some are timeless. So let's talk about some timeless issue that has a motivation within the events of the day. And the theme of today's discussion is liquidity is king. When we look at what is involved specifically in our world today, we see that we are consumed with issues relating to man-hour equivalency. In other words, are we getting the availability of the best possible talent, the most devoted to our mission, who will be focused towards excellence? That seems to be the issue right now. There's a shortage of people within the professions and those disciplines that are supporting professions. In veterinary medicine, it's licensed technicians. In dentistry, it's chairsides and hygienists. And then in dermatology, it's nurse practitioners and physician's assistants. In all of these instances, there are difficulties in securing the best and the finest who were heretofore pretty available with a work ethic that was geared more towards the post-depression period than the present period of sustenance based upon deus ex machina, that God would come down from a machine and solve all issues. It also throw out another Latin phrase, in loco parentis, in the place of parents, where employees are depending upon the employer to act as if he or she was their parent and was going to take care of them in the future. But let's focus in on liquidity, because that right now I think is the major issue that will be coming forward. And I'm seeing it with some of my larger clients. When I mean larger clients, I mean clients that are generating gross income in excess of $10 million. $10 million to about $40 million. And these are members of professions in veterinary medicine, dentistry, and dermatology who are facing now a challenge because cash, or what I would like to call liquidity, is not as available. And they're just starting to see it. Well, those of you that lived through the Carter years, as I did, and was in business helping clients in the Carter years, know that the issue of liquidity is a major factor in the success of a company, especially with interest rates in the Carter years at 12 to 16%. So not having to borrow money was an essential element, not necessarily in destroying your EBITDA, but in destroying your cash flow. So let's look at the issue of liquidity. Larger entities right now will feel first the pinch. And larger entities are run in professions by caring people who have developed what they consider to be a loyal workforce and don't want to do those things that are necessary to maintain cash position. Translated, it means they just don't want to dismiss people, either lay them off or dismiss them. They want to hold on to everybody as long as they humanly can, under the myth that this too shall pass. Unfortunately, the larger entities have a cash drain that would make your head spin. And as a result of that, those people in those positions have to act quickly in order to preserve the jobs of those that remain. Holding on to an excessive workforce comes to no good. And the reason for it is simply that you just can't afford to maintain a position of excess man-hour equivalency, still paying the bills, and functioning in a way that you will survive over a period of time. The larger you are, the greater the probability that you have to act quickly. Smaller practice groups, again, develop this doctrine of in loco parentis, where they will hold on to cherished personnel. Even if those individuals aren't working at the level that they should, they're still going to try to hold on, hoping for redemption in the economy, hoping for redemption of the individual, so their heart will be changed and they will work to maintain the status quo and the profitability of the underlying practice group. It doesn't happen that way. I think our cash positions are going to be put in a challenging area, probably for the next 2 years. Could be longer. I can't gauge it. There's a lot of things out there that are moving targets. There's a lot of unrest that we have worldwide that's scary. There's a lack of urgency on the part of our population to excel because things have been too easy for too long. Our population is not as well educated as it was at one time. Proof of that is just to quiz someone, probably under the age of 40, about current events, or ask that person, do they see a similarity between that which is occurring now and historical events that have happened in the past? Really what we're doing is we're evolving back into a feudalism of the haves and the have-nots. I do hope that will change. But with all of the issues that are going on presently, we're going to have some strength, some courage, because we will not be able to maintain the same standing of employees as we have in the past. And the man-hour equivalency will have to be measured not only in units of perceived need, but also efficiency and efficacy. Those are the factors I think we have to look at. It's also a time that if you're in a larger group, and I would say any group in excess of $2 million of managed gross, you better make plans to try to have adequate liquidity that you can tap. Now that could be personal savings of the principals. Of course, principals do not like to touch their own personal savings, and there's only one group that is more adverse, and that is the family of principals. Do not like to see an outflow of capital. They like to see an inflow of capital. So there would be some resistance. Getting financial information up to date and timely received is a very strong feature, not only in terms of the analytic review that's needed, either by expert humans that can see what's going on, but also utilization of some of the analytic tools through artificial intelligence. But what's most important is arranging for a difficulty where you would have a ready source of capital. And that would be a line of credit or having the availability of credit cards that presently are not tapped out. Those are the factors that would help in terms of liquidity. Those of you that have high receivables, and I can think specifically of large animal veterinary practices, you have to watch it like a hawk because the buildup of receivables means services are provided, hope of being paid is eternal, and unfortunately, you've prepaid on all of the costs and expenses that are needed to provide the service that build up the receivables. Another factor is when you have to renegotiate things like lease space. As volume diminishes, tough decisions have to be made as to how much space you really need. Space is very expensive. The per square footage cost that I thought would be diminishing has not. And in fact, many landlords are becoming a touch desperate because their space is vacant, and instead of using their heads and lowering their rates to encourage greater utilization, excuse me, they are instead raising their rates, closing their eyes, and hoping that fewer people will be able to keep the ship upright and powering on. But unfortunately, just like with everything else, people, when they see rates going up, try to downsize. Another example, the car industry. And that's a pretty good example right now because we're seeing thousands of people being laid off either at the distributorship level, the manufacturing level. We're seeing a lot of companies moving their production from the United States and good old American workers to other countries, for example, Mexico, or up to Canada, where the management group perceives that they will be able to gain a better margin by having people work for less. In all of these instances, liquidity has become a crucial issue. So sorry. Hopefully some of this can be edited out. But you have to make plans right now. Thinking that things will change on the short term is wishful thinking because we have been tapped out of a lot of credit in a lot of businesses. People who lose their jobs don't go to restaurants, don't buy things, don't engage in acquisitions of luxuries, but in essence, pull in the belt and pray for survival. So what I'm encouraging most of you to do, and I say most because there could be exceptions to what I just said, there could be people that are doing wonderfully. But I think there's enough free spaces and schedules that are starting to pop up that people who are hearing this presentation can readily empathize with what I'm saying. But gain lines of credit, secure alternative options for liquidity, have good early warning signals, and that means paying attention to your financial position and not tolerating the classic alibis that you hear that, well, we just didn't get it done this month. Financial information is crucial. Now is the time that you engage the most competent people. Get the best attorneys you can, get the best CPAs you can, get the best people who will be able to assist you in whatever the needs might be. Look at your insurance specifically. Insurance has gone through the roof. Get back into the cost containment mode. All of these things are crucial. And all I ask is that you take due consideration in the process. This is Owen McCafferty saying thank you very much. I am very grateful that you would take a few minutes to listen to these ideas, and we'll be talking soon. Bye-bye.